Talking all things Tapper sports, you're listening to Redzone on Revolution 91.7.
Welcome back to the Hill, folks.
I was very excited, Billy. You all right?
Billy Rutledge, Fletcher Keel over there.
Had a pump-up drink during the break. Got your energy back.
Hey, we got 20 minutes left on the last red zone of the year. I'm going to make it worthwhile.
I sure hope so. Don't want my final show to...
You're working that mic right now, Bill.
I'm trying, man.
Don't want Josh and Mai's final show to just kind of crash and burn and be
cascading over your left shoulder.
We'll have time for you guys' final remarks.
That's a great word.
For a few tears.
Right?
But right now, a big decision was made last year for WKU. They joined Conference USA on July 1st, 2014, after being in the Sun Belt for 32 years.
If you want to get technical, the decision was made 2 years ago, and then there was the year-long transition process. No, your show. You're right. Sorry. I'm just a fly on the wall.
Conference USA, they joined July 1st, 2014.
Yes.
Today is May 6th.
May the 6th be with you, right?
2015.
Is that how that works?
Mm-hmm. And as WKU joined Conference USA, there's 18 sanctioned sports or sponsored sports in Conference USA. That still includes swimming and diving. It also includes baseball, basketball, cross country, indoor and outfield track and field, and then the same on the women's side, golf as well. And I'm going to bring the question to you guys here. Wrapping up, overall, I know we talked about this last week in kind of a grade-wise, but kind of more, a little bit in depth, WKU's first year in Conference USA.
By all measures, it was a success. And I don't think anyone could have predicted how big of a success that it would be, especially in the sports like football and basketball. I think you could kind of tell with a sport like volleyball, just because of the amount of players coming back, the level that they were playing in Sunbelt. Like, there's no way that's a Sunbelt volleyball team. They were just already playing at a Conference USA level. And so I think them doing what they did, losing only one conference match, was a little surprising, and then actually winning the tournament was a little bit surprising. But everything else just kind of happened, and as it was happening, it was a pleasant surprise. It was like, oh, football's putting it together in the back end. Oh, WKU starting conference playing basketball on a 9-0 streak. Oh, the women's are better than a Sunbelt women's team that we saw last year. I think everything that happened was in a positive on the playing field or any sort, and so by any stretch of the imagination in terms of actually playing events, it was a positive.
Yeah, I mean, conference changes has the chance to be like a coaching change where you've got a year or two setback.
And I think that's what a lot of people were thinking or were predicting to happen.
Right, but if you look at the Sunbelt women's basketball at least, they got better. Like, so overall, can you imagine what this women's basketball team would have done to lower end Sunbelt teams this year?
Oh, Lord.
The women's basketball team got better. Men's basketball is probably looking at a 25 to 27 win season.
They're looking at a
tournament.
They're looking at tournament berth too.
Yeah.
If you look at any of these sports, I mean, Hudson's volleyball team, after losing their setter, was still crazy. So
Jessica Lucas isn't half bad though.
WKU is just really good at turnover. Western Kentucky as a university experiences a lot of turnover, and this was just another one of those things. And so you turn over some key players on a team in volleyball, and you win more games. You turn over some key player or two, and then move conferences in basketball, you win more games. You turn over a lot of defensive players, you still find a way to win your first football game or bowl subdivision bowl game in history. So the fact that they won championships in women's basketball and volleyball, and the fact that they won their first bowl game in football, they didn't just maintain. I think a lot of people were hoping for maintenance.
Yep.
Can we maintain a team in any sport going to different conference? They did more than that.
Everyone except I would say this: everyone got better, and that includes baseball, and even baseball, who's been for the past 4 years has been a 500 team hovering right around there. Either
Conference USA
a game,
is a good baseball
Conference
team.
USA, but even I think a lot of like we said earlier, I think a lot of these games, if they're played in the Sun Belt, the Hilltoppers win. So I think as a team they're getting better. They just ran into a conference full of teams that are much better, and so now we know what to look forward to and what to grow in baseball next year. But everything else was a step up, and I like what you said about how WKU is used to moving up or going under turnover, and not just with players. Every college does that, but WKU as a mid-major is a stepping stone. So we've seen coaching change after coaching change. Our first 4 years, we've been through 3 football coaches, and that's just because of the change and new opportunities and bigger and better opportunities. And it was nice to see WKU not only get the bigger and better opportunity this time around as opposed to get the butt end of it, but also succeed at the level that they have.
When you think of Conference USA and WKU being in their first year, I already think like Western Kentucky is a big part of Conference USA. When I'm thinking of the conference itself, it's Western Kentucky is one of the first teams that come to mind. You know, there's other teams that come up as well, but it just already seems like in one short year, they're already just a powerhouse in this kind of mid-major conference.
Yeah, and I think a lot of
contention will do that for you.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of that is they were name a sport aside from baseball, and even if they sneak into the tournament, they're still a threat. Name a sport in which they weren't a threat to win the championship. I don't think anyone wanted to play WKU in the last four games. They still made the tournament though. That's the impressive thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think soccer is another outlier where no one expected them to do what they did with the 23 of the 27 girls on the roster. Yeah. And I lost my train of thought there, but absolutely, Billy.
That's what I was going for. Just trying to butt in.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Another team that found success with the WKU swimming and diving team. The year before WKU actually went into Conference USA, the men's competed in Conference USA.
Yeah, that's the caveat there is they were pretty much already at that level.
Right, and they were still winning the tournament. They were still doing great jobs.
They won the first ever CUSA championship for the school last year, and that was really cool to see.
So I think a lot of big of this jump, and I think a lot of people liked this jump, is because the national recognition that WKU began to get because of it. They're playing bigger teams. WKU's getting kind of bigger games. They win their first home game against a ranked opponent since 1984 against Old Dominion. It just seems
beat a ranked team in football for the first time.
Right. When you jump a conference, it's because you want to get something like national recognition. You want to beat Marshall and end their undefeated season and have everyone talking about it.
Yeah, and I think over the next couple of years we're going to start seeing a bit of a danger mode for WKU, where what we've already seen with the in-state competition is a lot of the teams like the Kentuckys and like the Louisvilles aren't going to want to play the Hilltoppers anymore because they know that they can compete on the same field and beat them. And so now I think we're going to see a transition over the next half decade to 7 years or so where WKU is going to be playing lower end opponents as opposed to being the lower end opponent, which on one hand is exciting, but on the other hand, you're losing a little bit of that national recognition.
I don't know about that though. I mean, they're just re-up the deal with Indiana to get like $1 million to go play. So
play and beat
which
them.
is a game they're going to win.
Look. WKU moved up to Conference USA. It's still Conference USA.
Yeah.
So they're still going to be playing SEC teams. That's still going to happen because SEC teams have a lot of money. They're most likely going to beat a Conference USA team, so they'll play. The problem, the danger zone, if you want to use that though, I don't see that in 7 to 10. I see that in 1 to 2 because you just had a really successful women's basketball year. Now you have to replace Gooch and Govan. You just had a really successful men's basketball year for the most part. Now you have to replace TJ Price and George Fant. You are having we talked about the what ifs of baseball. They're losing so much of baseball. Some of these sports aren't going to be bringing much back. Think of 2 years from now without Dowdy, who's playing quarterback. So the danger zone is they've had really, really good. They showed up in the first season. They set a standard for performance. Can they match or exceed that standard in the next 3 to 5 years?
But you know what? I think I would take that bet. If you said the day of the announcement when we're all in the Hardball Club at the press conference, you said, Fletcher, WKU is going to run the conference essentially. Is going to do all these great things, but they're going to be middle of the pack over the next 3 years because they lose everyone. I would take it. You made your entrance in the conference. You made your statement. Now everyone in the conference knows who you are. Not yet alone from the Sunbelt schools that you were with beforehand. Everyone knows who Western Kentucky is, and even if they are playing middle of the road in the conference, they're still going to be seen as a threat in all these sports because of what they did in their first year.
WKU's first year in Conference USA kind of seems a success right now, kind of looking back.
You asked our opinion. What would your opinion be? You asked it last week about the grade that you would give the 2014-15 season for WKU first year in Conference USA.
It's pass-fail.
Pass-fail?
No, it's letter grade.
Letter grade?
Yeah.
With a curve.
Because pass-fail is too easy.
I would say high B+. I mean, the way the expectations...
So we're talking like an 89?
89, 88, right at that level.
88.5, we'll say.
88.4, because 88.5 would round up.
Listen. Okay. When you think of the expectations coming into the year, they were not the expectations that we're thinking about next year. It was significantly lower. The football team to win their first FBS bowl game, the basketball team to win their third straight 20-win season, the women's basketball team to win their second straight conference championship. It just seems like it was such a huge success, and it was such good throughout all athletics that it was just such a good positive 88, 89.
All right.
It's good reflection for that 1 year, but on your guys' last show...
Are they emailing the professor for an A? You're going to get emails from the WKU athletics staff saying,
"Look,
Bill,
bump us up
if there's an assignment we could do, an exhibition game we could play,
how about this?
Bump us up for that A."
How about this? Lady Toppers win the softball tournament. We'll bump it up to an A officially on the Red Zone.
We'll do that.
Done and done.
Write it down.
You're welcome, Hilltopper Athletics.
But they've got to win that tournament, though.
That's coming up this weekend. They play Charlotte. The softball's first game is Charlotte. That is tomorrow, Thursday in Miami.
Also, the name of the new royal baby
is Charlotte.
Connections.
That's a bad omen.
If you would have told me last Saturday that there was going to be a royal baby born, there was going to be a horse race, and a great boxing match, I would have thought it was
the royal baby
100
weighed
years
in at
ago,
8 pounds,
200 years
3
ago.
ounces.
Yeah, I didn't know we had traveled back to 1928. What's the old Robin Williams meme? What year is it? It's one of my favorites.
Well, it's 2015, and you guys have been here for 4 years here on the Hill. That is Fletcher and Josh. And Fletcher, you said you wanted to talk about kind of a recap over how it's evolved. Athletics have evolved over the last 4 years, and I'm sure it's evolved a lot to you guys. I've only been here on the Hill. This is the end of my sophomore year, so I've seen a lot of the Petrino era and Brom, and I've seen a lot of success is what I'm trying to say. And I'm sure you guys were there in the dog days where WKU didn't win a game in football, and the basketball team had Ken McDonald, and they didn't know what was going on. So how do you think that – it's kind of a bigger question, Fletcher. I'm just going to let you run with it.
I don't know the entire history of WKU as well as I'd like to. Just being here 4 years and following the team, it's been awesome, and I'm pretty sure this isn't the case, but I can't think of anything I've heard of the past of a better 4-year stretch for the Hilltoppers in anything. You make 4 NCAA tournaments in a row, 2 with men's basketball, 2 with women's basketball. Football goes from being 0-36 at home to bowl eligible every single year that Josh and I have been here, making 2 bowl games, winning one of those bowl games, having Bobby Petrino as the head coach. Volleyball has won the conference tournament every year we've been here. It's just been, I can't think of a 4-year stretch in which WKU has been better. And even with Billy, you were saying you came in the year up Petrino, you guys have seen so much transition as well, but it was just cool for Josh and I to be able to see the very beginnings of the transition and see where it's been now, and I can't wait to follow it the rest of my life.
Yeah, I think that I mentioned the word turnover earlier. It's so weird here because it goes from something as simple as men's basketball turning over 3 or 4 players per year to the coaches of sports when we came in as freshmen. You had
Willie Taggart
at football. Tyra Perry was here.
Tyra Perry
is here at softball. You had Mary Taylor Cowles as the women's basketball coach. You had Ken McDonald as the men's basketball coach. These are completely different names in some decently major sports.
Mm-hmm. And Matt Myers was about to begin his first year.
Yeah, Matt Myers was beginning his first year, so that's something that's not thought about very much. Mm-hmm. And so really the only mainstays were track and field, even swimming. Bill Powell was phasing out as a swim coach. We didn't really know that then because of the profile of the sport. Yeah. But Bruce Marchionda was beginning his career as the swim team's coach. The only mainstays were
Hudson and Idell.
Volleyball and soccer. And so
we've even been through 2 athletic directors with Ross Bjork. We were here for Bjork, and then he left for Ole Miss.
Yeah,
and now we've got Todd Stewart. That's crazy.
Just the amount of different faces. And I say a lot that I don't know if I could have picked a better 4-year stretch as far as how interesting the sports have been.
Yeah. I think that's a better representation than my saying the best 4-year stretch ever.
It's been really interesting. It has been up and downs for men's basketball. You've had some really, really highs and some pretty darn low lows. It has been weird for football because we came in
very weird,
as freshmen here, and people's expectations.
The worst team in the country by many people's standards.
The hope was, can we win 3?
Can we win a home game?
2's pretty out of question. Getting beaten 44-16 by Indiana State. The hope was, can we win?
I was at that game.
Fans are thinking, can the Hilltoppers win 3? And now next year it's expected 10, right? And a bowl win. Yeah. And you look at women's basketball. When we came in, Mary Taylor Cowles on the tail end of a decent career. She was here. She had some success, but they were awful.
9 wins.
They were awful. And now Michelle Clark-Hurd, if you could win 40 in a 38-game season, I think she'd do it. Because I don't know. It's been most interesting and on a down, not on a down note, I guess, but also with the swim team suspension, and you've had a lot of other different things as media members to cover that you've been a part of. And just the scope of what has happened in WKU sport over the past 4 years, I wouldn't say most successful because I don't know. I mean, the 70s had some really, really good basketball teams on both sides and some success in the OVC.
So I like the way you put it, and that's what I meant.
It's been riveting.
There's just interesting and never a dull moment. The first thing I ever did in terms of media for WKU, aside from just sitting courtside and tweeting at basketball games for Extra Point, was writing the release for News Channel 12's website about Derek Gordon transferring or announcing that he was going to transfer. And it's just weird to think back.
Derek Gordon, the first openly gay athlete.
Yeah, now
at
UMass, and then once
he's actually gone from UMass.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he left.
I didn't know that. But I remember when that news broke, you kind of thought to yourself, oh, maybe that was why he left little old Western Kentucky. So it's just been a riveting, interesting, great 4 years of WKU sports, and the conference bump up also helps that quite a lot. I still think we could call it one of the more successful 4-year stretches, even if they still say it in the Sun Belt, because a lot of the success, the basketball success and the football turnaround, so to speak, happened in the Sun Belt.
I'm in the process, Billy, of looking for jobs in television, and the market system in television is 1 to 200. 200 being the lowest, and it's generally thought, the lower the worse. You're going to start off at a lower market, go to a higher one. Bowling Green's 182, almost the lowest. But with WKU, it's a hidden gem. And me and Elliot Pratt, that used to be on the show, talk about it a lot.
Not a diamond in the rough?
It is either one. A diamond in the rough, a hidden
but
gem.
Not in the rough.
It just depends on if you want to call Bowling Green the rough. But the point being that the Hilltoppers have had some success. They've been on national television. If they can build a Gonzaga-esque, a Boise State-esque fan support, then you would have, like, people would be like, I don't want to go play. It's the blue turf of Boise State, but I don't want to go play in Houchins because they may only be 23,000 of them, but man, are there 23,000 of them. And I think Bowling Green has the number of people. I mean, there's 66,000
Bowling Green, the third biggest city in Kentucky. Yeah. And Western Kentucky just passed Louisville in enrollment for students.
Nice. I like
Which
that.
is weird because Western Kentucky's enrollment's declining. So what does that say about Louisville? But the point is, if they can build an interest in WKU sport more than just older people that grew up watching them, then this university has a chance. It might not ever be as good as Gonzaga is in basketball or as good as Boise State was for 4 years in football, but if they can support the entire sports organization.
I think those are great points, and I think the thing about that is two things. One, it's the community that comes in and supports, because what are you going to do in Boise, Idaho, and in Gonzaga in the middle of the winter? But two, it's also the students, and a lot
those
of that
would be the two people that go to games.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of it is still WKU. Through their first decade or so of Conference USA, I would say, still has to get out of the students and as a brand really have to get out of that mindset of we're coming here, or a student saying, I'm going to come here, but I'm still going to pull for UK or U of L. I mean, Josh and I still pull for Tennessee and Auburn, but we still want to see.
Oh, you pull for Tennessee? That's great.
You pull for Tennessee. I pull for Auburn. Everyone knows this. But the fan support, above all else, the community supports it pretty well, but the student support has to grow, and we've seen it grow a little bit, not a whole lot, and I would love to come back for homecoming.
Well, yeah, because fans aren't the ones taking their shirts off and painting their stomachs with big red letters and screaming at opposing coaches things that shouldn't be screamed at opposing coaches. The community is the ones that are going, thank you for the dunk. Yeah. And the fans are going, we dunked on you so hard.
And I would love to come back to homecoming in 5, 7, 10 years and not be able to get a ticket to the game because the students and the fans have come out and have sold out Houchins. You what?
I still like a ticket.
Yeah, I would like one, but I would like to be able to not find one because of the support of WKU.
I think if WKU can improve as much as they did in that 4-year span, the next 4 years, and even the next 4 years.
The sky's the limit.
The sky's the limit. I think that they can become I don't want to say Big Ten, or that's not really the conference they would fit in, but it just seems like something
AAC, I think, in that time span, the athletic conference.
Overall, they can become a team that's generally considered, maybe people watch.
A South Florida, Cincinnati, and SMU.
A little bit higher prestige. Well, guys, we're nearing the end of your guys' final Red Zone show. Do you have any last words, both of you?
I don't know if it's last words. I mean, it's a good 4 years. It is a lot of different interesting. I mean, it's funny that we both started in these seats and then transitioned to time over where Billy's sitting, and now we're back. I think that's kind of a cool arc that showed. And look, this is fun. I mean, that's what sports broadcasting is. It's fun. So it's pretty simple about how I feel about Red Zone.
Yeah, I want to thank Jason Martin and Jeremy Brown, who now works with WKU Athletics, the baseball SID.
I'm going to see you in like an hour and a half, fellas.
Yeah, I'll see you in an hour and a half, but they're the ones who came to me, or Jason was the one who came to me in class and said, hey, you should come to our Redzone meeting tonight. And in the first year or so, the Redzone meeting was my favorite part of the week. I got to go in and talk sports, talk WKU sports. The show suffered a little bit because of that, but I learned so much in those meetings, and being able to do what I've done in terms of being student media and media here and covering the team and starting my own blog for WKU and just seeing everything that's happened over the last 4 years. It's been awesome. And I don't think even when basketball was winning championships and going to tournament every year, I don't think I would trade any 4-year period to come here except for this one. This was the best that I could have ever imagined. I'm excited for what the future holds. I'm going to miss this place, miss the show. And, yeah.
Billy's telling you to shut up, Fletcher.
I know.
Stop being sentimental.
I got to get all my last words in.
I wanted to get my 2 cents in. You guys have taught me a lot in my 2 years. I think I've found a passion that I want to do with my career, and it's thanks to you guys. I think everybody and WKU fans appreciate what you guys have done for the sports.
Thanks,
for Josh Holland and Fletcher Keel for the final time, Billy Rutledge here on the WKU Red Zone. Follow us at WKU Red Zone. We'll be back next semester. Thanks for listening.
Final word.